Man. Welcome, Jay. You saying Cuzzy? B. What's poppin', dog? I'm like Zico. Bro, I keep on getting kicked out of the show, bro. Mazza. Alright, let's run up on the last one. Let's run up on this last one. I think Ultra's reason them with Kalam. Iago. What is this thing not working? Nah, this time it weren't even no trolls, man. Well, yeah, the trolls I'm still. This time it weren't even the trolls. Let's see what these men are saying.
PS4 because I got Xbox. No, it's his thing. Go true. But it's the same thing with Christianity. I feel like...
Hold on. Respect.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, respect. What are you saying?
What?
Yeah.
Talk to me, bro.
1 minute. Slow down. But
cool.
Yeah, like later on we're linking up on Kalam's thing, people. We're just you know what, yeah, I heard you man having that interesting conversation and Kalam doing that serious raw breakdown. And I said,
No, listen, this the thing, yeah? This the thing. Like, Kalam and all my Titans, the reason why I love and respect you guys is because you all bring something different to the table, and I can't forsake any of you. I'm not clever enough to be a scientist. I'm not studied enough to be a Hindu, and I don't know enough about Christianity and Sikhism. So I'm just not gonna just nail my colors to the mast. I'm just gonna hang back. But then you talk to certain guys and you tell them, bro, it's just my thing, and they can't handle it. And I don't know why.
Well, remember I was saying to you, Ultra, yeah, that's why it's very important, Ultra, bro. If you can at some point just look into what ancient African used to do before these invaders came to Africa. Like I was saying to you, like before these Christians came there, before these Muslims came there, we used to do nature, we used to do our voodoo thing. And
See, bro, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. Let me be real with you, yeah?
I'm not sure about
there's
I'm all for spirituality, yeah, but that blind voodoo word, I'm not sure about it. Maybe I've been indoctrinated, but it just gives me a weird feeling.
No, what I'm saying, Russ, yeah, you see, like, for example, you see the funny thing is, Russ, yeah, you see in the Bible and the Quran, yeah, their books is full of rituals, bro. Their books is full of rituals. For example, in one second, yeah, for example, though, yeah, in their books, brother, yeah, like their prayers is a ritual. You know, when you repeat a certain prayer asking for help or asking for guidance, it's a ritual. When they sacrifice animals for their Eid, it's a ritual. When they go to the church, it's a ritual. Everybody does a ritual, bro.
If you don't got time here, let me know if I can give my good brother Ultra Funky the comedic honor.
yeah.
Because I think,
if I'm honest with you, Callum, if I'm real to you, I've wanted to go like, I've wanted to talk to you like not one-on-one, but just like in a small group, just to find out what the score is. Do you understand what I'm saying? But it's difficult because you're popular.
Jeez. See, our comedic shahada is very simple. Very, very, very simple. All right. All we're asking you to do, I just want to know if you know the superiority between the two, right? If I brought you, let's just say you're very sick, right?
Yeah.
You're dying right now. You're dying, right?
So I'm terminal, yeah?
You're terminal, right?
Okay.
But then I'm over here. I've got the medicine right now, right?
Oh,
this medicine is scientifically tested and proven, right?
Yeah.
And then I got a next thing, which I got from the witch doctor over there. I don't know if he's actually saved anybody before, but he's a witch doctor nonetheless. All right? Which one of the two are you going to choose?
If I'm honest with you, in the current mindset that I'm in, I'm going to be real. I would go with the trial and test. If something's been proven to work, I've got no choice but to, I've got no reason to doubt it. Whereas if the witch doctor, I'm like, that's like, nah. Yeah, I'm going with the try and testing method.
Here we go. All right. Okay. So we go over here. Our system. It's not religion. It's not religion, right? It's philosophy.
I didn't know Jedi was life.
So our thing is philosophy, yeah? That means, right, we only deal with something called gnosis. We only deal with that which we know, right? If we don't know something, we kind of reject it, or we should say, we just don't know.
That's what I do.
All right.
People have a real problem with this.
All right. So that's our methodology, right? That's our methodology, right? That's just simple it. So if you accept that methodology, we can go to the next step.
Okay.
We can go to the next step, right? So the next step is methodology, right? That's our methodology. Right? That's just simple. All right. So there's this mad feedback going on. All right. So the second step now is we're going to hit up with, we're going to look around and see what is actually out there. So everybody puts forward a positive claim of what? Everybody out there says there is a God, right?
Yeah, well, most people, yeah.
Most people, right? And how about you? Do you think that their God is proven to you?
No.
No? Okay, no?
No.
No? That's the first step. So our first step is to actually investigate and to negate. That which doesn't work, right? We simply say no. So just like the medicine, that medicine, you could trial it, and if it doesn't work, we simply say no, it doesn't work.
Makes sense to me. I'm with you so far.
All right. So we've got something, just like the Muslims, we taught the Muslims this concept, right? And they added to it. And it's called La ilaha illa Allah, right? The first one is a negation philosophy, and the second one is a affirmation, right? So La ilaha, meaning that there is no deity, all right? And then afterwards, you do a positive statement to say that there is a deity. But we're going to get to that point. before we can get to the positive, we have to deal with the negative. So right now we can see all of these God systems, they're not working. So we negate, we're not about it. All right.
Yeah.
But we're not ignorant at the same time, right? You know why we're not ignorant? We're going to be agnostic, right? The reason why we're going to be agnostic is because that we truly don't know. Like we honestly don't know. We know that these ones don't work, but they could possibly be a deity, right? It could be a possibility. So then we put accept. We put the extra bit in there. We say illah. So we now say la ilaha illah. Accept, maybe, possibly. Give me some information. Give me some evidence. What is a deity and so forth? We now ask questions. Start questioning things like, that's it. That's the next step. So now the next step is, what exactly is a deity? What is God? What is this thing that everybody keeps talking about?
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
I like that question.
If we don't know, if we don't have a criteria, right, to say what is God, then
you don't make stuff up, do you, Cal? Please say you don't make stuff up.
Nah.
Good.
We don't make, maybe we don't play that. We don't play that. We don't play around. All right. So now we need to know what exactly is God, right? What exactly is this? And can we find can we construct an experiment to find what is this deity thing that people are talking about? You have any clues of what it could possibly be? Like what criteria we can create? No? I'm asking you.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So, like, do you know what exactly a deity could be? What's the criteria for a deity?
I know what theists tell me. This dogs that live outside the universe, all loving, all merciful, all just, omnipotent, omniscient, omnibenevolent, omnipresent.
We're jumping way ahead. Like, I don't know how people come up to that conclusion.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying, but this is what people tell me.
Yeah. All right. So in philosophy, again, right, we always deal with knowledge. We want to find out things. So we can either find out like what something is or the epistemology of something.
Yes, I'm with you.
So technically speaking, God tends to be the first. We're trying to find the prime, the principle, the first of things, right? So in terms of, let's say, for example, the earth. How did the earth come about? We're trying to find the principle of how it came about, the planets, the stars, the moon, etc. It's a whole philosophy that leads you through science, learning about your surrounding, learning about the stars and so forth. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, the universe, like how did the universe come about and so forth, right? What is the prime? What is at the stage where, nothing was as it is now? How did it all come about? Right? That's the type of questions we start asking ourselves. Right? And when we look for that, we look for the principle, the prime thing that comes about. And then from there, we say, if that is the prime thing, then that has to be the highest thing. And we call that deity, right? Or we can call it whatever it is. It doesn't need to be outside of this realm. It just simply needs to be the prime. So for example, we identify that the sun is the prime thing inside of this universe, meaning it's the first thing that gives life to all things. Right? So in a sense, that can be classified as a deity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Does that make sense? For example, like, in order for you to be here, like you need your mother and your father, right? They're the prime, the two primes that added you into this world. They, for example, could be like a deity. I'm not saying that they are the deity. I'm just simply saying whatever is the prime.
I totally understand. I'm totally with you.
That is it right there. Right? That's kind of how we look and we search for a deity. I'm not going to tell you what the deity is or who the deity is. That's something to do with the study, but that's kind of what we do. We look for the prime in things, right? So if it's to do with on a metaphysical level, we start saying, on a metaphysical level, because we just gone through like a terrestrial, celestial level. We start going up into the metaphysical. We understand that in order for something to be what it is, right, in terms of on the physical plane, there needs to be something that moved it in the first place, right?
Yeah, of course.
And then we can keep going back and back and back. On the metaphysical level, we call that thing the prime mover. The first thing that moved, that caused other things to move. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm with you so far.
Yeah. And on a metaphysical level, we call that the prime mover. So we're always looking for the principles in things. And that's how we label what a deity is. But I'm not going to go through all of that now and say what exactly is the deity. That's kind of the system we take in Kemet to kind of figure out what exactly is God, right? We have to define what we're trying to find. And we have to set
Please
a
define
methodology.
what we're talking about, and then you've got something to go on. Yes.
There you go. There you go. So right now, as it stands, right, you're exactly what we, you know, in Kemetic philosophy, like you're following that. Any atheist, right, is part of Kemetic philosophy in that respect, right? Because we're on the same wavelength. We're not simply gonna fall for anything. We're not simply gonna believe in anything. We need evidence and proof. And if you can't prove
is that too much to ask, Hal? Come on.
You know, we're going to negate it. But we're not going to be ignorant yet again. So we're going to be like atheistic, but we're going to be agnostic at the same time. To be like, you know what? If you can prove it to me, I'm willing to accept. If you can't prove it to me, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Not involved. Yeah. I'm just not involved. Yeah.
And then the final stage, what we're all trying to do is find what God is. Right? We're finding what God is. That's kind of like the real, how can I put it, the purpose of Kemetic philosophy. All right? It's a three-part.
All right, but wait a second. Let me put you on the spot, Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Have you figured it out? Now, don't tell me don't tell me what it is, but do you believe you figured it out?
I would say that, let me be very straightforward with you, right? I think it's like an onion. Right, so there is layers to it.
Layers. Yeah.
There is, you know, very much so layers. So I can say I have seen God, right? But that's just one level of the deity, right?
Okay.
I've seen God, but that's only one level of the deity. And every so often, right, I unravel a second layer of the deity, and my eyesight or my vision of the deity becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. It's kind of like seeing you on like a foggy winter's night. I can see you in the distance, right?
Yeah.
Well, until I come closer and closer, there's more light that's being shone upon you. Like I'm going to see you blurry. All right. So I can honestly say that I've seen the deity, but I can't 100% say I've seen it in the highest clarity. It's still a journey.
You're still like I said, you're still trying to unravel layers. You're still trying to get to the core.
That's right.
But you're deep into the journey.
Deep.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. But listen, if I don't figure it out before I'm dead, do I go to hell?
Nah, G.
Yeah. See, I like this. I like this. Like, I don't feel threatened with by the Kemetic philosophy, to be fair.
Now, Callum. So if that is the case, like why would that Kemetans, burying themselves with things to get them through the afterlife and help them on their journey?
Yeah.
Why would they bury themselves for their journey?
The jackal, for example. Why if the afterlife is just irrelevant and he's got nothing to worry about? Why would they bury themselves with a jackal to guide them through afterlife?
They bury themselves with jackals to guide them through the afterlife.
Yeah.
Are you I'm not too sure about that. But in terms of I'm not too sure about them burying themselves with jackals. You might mean to say that there is inside of tombs, there is imageries of the jackal and things like that.
No, I'm saying like they actually used to like stuff these jackals, and bury them with them. You know what I'm saying? Especially the elite pharaoh.
The actual jackals, like a real jackal, used to be buried with them.
Yeah. Sometimes even people are buried with them. Their servants.
I'm not too sure about that. There were jackals that were mummified and were buried and put into tombs.
Yeah.
Okay. There were statues of jackals within inside of the tombs and so forth. But I'm not too sure. Like you're telling me something that is new to me. To say that they bury themselves with actual jackals.
Okay, yeah, but like you just said, the mummified jackals, and then they put them in the tombs. So what I'm saying is, there was a reason why they did that. It wasn't just for show.
Yeah, there is a reason.
They actually believed this jackal was going to guide them through the afterlife, like a guide dog. You know what I'm saying?
Not like that. No, they never dealt with beliefs. Again, so let me just quickly say they never dealt with beliefs until like the untrained eye. They're gonna see it as like like if you see ancient Egyptian stuff, it will look mad spooky. Some people literally believe that, the ancient Egyptians believed they were like human beings with with jackal heads or human beings with hawk heads and all this madness, right? That's just if you're looking at it from a very literal, apparent way of seeing things, right? If that's the way of seeing it, then yes, you would come to that conclusion. But that's not what the ancient Egyptians themselves.
So what was? Okay then. If that one's my conclusion, then yeah, which it is not, because I was taught this by the elder Kofi, and like he's a real committed. You know what I'm saying? But all right, and like if I'm wrong, then why you tell us why there was mummifying these jackals, yeah, and even burying themselves with their servants. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, Callum. Listen, like I'm gonna just put a brief pause on our talk because I learned something today which is rare. I'm going to take this up with you another time. But I'll be on the show later tonight. I'm gonna jump off for now.
Alright.
Yep. All right. Listen, big love. Peace.
Come on, bless up.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, from my study, like, obviously, I used to study chemic well before the Bible. Like, I'm not claiming to be as as knowledgeable as you in it, but I know what I know in it, and like what I'm saying is that these people, it was okay. Then it wouldn't be a religion as we call it in modern day. I understand there's a lot of philosophy behind it when we're talking about Magna and all these other philosophies. Yeah, I get that. But there's actually a real belief system there that these people, they buried themselves with these idols, yeah, because they believed it would be relevant for the afterlife. Like we read about it in the Book of the Dead as well. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, choose one thing so I can explain it to you. So choose one thing, whether it's a statue or mummy or whatever the case is. Just choose one thing, and then I can explain to you why it was done.
You man, click the link in the bio. You man, click the link in the bio, innit?
Oh yeah.
Come over to the official. I mean, not in the bio, in the chat.
Yeah. Here we go.
Oh yeah. Is that the next chord? Is that like? Okay. I jump on that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Cool.
Okay. Respect Lion. Oh, I should have that one. Okay. Okay, got it. Join.
All right.
Yeah. At least within a day, where I'm concentrating on one thing. My focus is on speaking to my my creator and really releasing all the bad energies that I've had in that fifth of the day kind of thing. So that's my input too.
Yeah. Before.
Yeah, we're in the right one. What are you saying? Takia watching Shiny getting it in, yeah? See you shining. Yeah, what are you saying, Ezra? What are you saying, Kalam? You lot was going in, man?
Yeah. All right. Go on, Ezra.
Yeah, man. I don't really like to do these things live, but let's not be kafirs and cover the truth.
Don't be a kafir.
Don't be a kafir. Kafir, you get me? Trust me. Nah, I'm just saying, like, I hear Brother Callum, and I agree with him and Gabs on a lot of it. Yeah, that yes, there is a lot of powerful philosophies coming out of Kemet, but there was also, in my opinion, and from my studies, a real belief system. Where, like, let's not call it religion because that makes people all crazy. But these people actually.
We saying shirt. There's a shirt going on.
Yeah, shirt. Yeah, there's a shirt. So these people actually believed they was going to the afterlife. Understand? Like, they didn't know they was going. They actually believed, that look, if we behave a certain way, we go to the afterlife. That's what it was all about, going to see the mat on the way out of your on the way out, yeah, of your life, like spiritually, yeah. You go and visit Ma'at and get the balance and the justice and the lady justice, and then there's there's levels of this afterlife. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's levels to go through in it. Yeah. So I'm saying this is a belief system, fam. You know what I mean? Because no one can't say they know this.
Nah,
you know
it's more of a mystery system, right? And what I mean by mystery system, all right, it's my story. Yeah. And you're on the outside and you don't know what's really going on the inside. So all you're seeing is the apparent. But in the inside, right, we reveal to one another what we're really talking about. You know, you got Mandem code, then you got boy code, right? Like
yeah. I hear that.
Before, yeah, man, them know that they ring you up. As soon as they see that 4 that's being texted to them, you ring each other up to say, yo, there's been a mad accident, you know, somebody's in hospital, you need to come now, and that's your reason to cut from the girl's house, like on a pronto tip, right? But for the girl who's just seeing that she's going through your phone, why are you lot always messing each other for? Like, she's never ever gonna know. Never ever gonna know. But between you two, you know what the 4 is all about. Make sense?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
So,
I hear that still.
What I'm going to try to do, yeah, is if you just choose one thing, yeah, and if it's in my power to kind of reveal to you what it is, I will. But there's certain things like I can't. I'm not allowed to. But go ahead.
Fair enough, Philip. Fair enough, man. All right, and so let's just go with the mummified jackals then. Yeah.
Okay.
What is that about, and what is the purpose of it when we're finding them in tombs?
All right. So you got mummification, full stop, right? So you got jackals and you have mummification. You have other animals in ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt that were considered to be sacred, right? They were considered to be sacred. They were like, how can I put it? They were manifestations of the deity or manifestations of the divine being, okay? And in that...
Is that a belief or is that a knowing?
No, that's a knowing. That's a knowing.
So how explain?
Okay, so since we're talking about the jackal itself, okay, we're going to talk about what it is. So the jackal, or some people call the dog, okay, would be a manifestation of the divine principle known as Anupu. Okay, Anupu, Anupu or Anubis in Greek. Okay. But now we see that there is a dog, right? That's just the physical. But what does the word Anupu mean, or what does the principle behind this deity actually represent?
Yeah, it's a guide, isn't it? I'm sure it means guide.
Yes, that's definitely one of the meanings. So let's just stick it there. Let's just say guide, because there is a whole how can I put it? There's loads of appellations, there's loads of description, there's loads of detail that could go along with that, right?
Yeah.
So we can see, okay, that the principle of, let's see, what's the word guide in Arabic? What's the word guide? Al-Hadi. Let's just say the principle of Al-Hadi. All right, I don't know what it is in Hebrew. What's the word for guiding in Hebrew?
I'd have to go to it. I'd have to go to it still.
Okay, so we all know that God guides us, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But the term guide is an abstract term. Does that make sense? Because you can't physically see guide.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But then we look into nature to see what is the best representative in nature that we can use to say that's the guide, or that's a guide. All right. So we look around in nature, and what do we find? We find this jackal, okay, or this dog, whatever the case is. It's a guide dog, right? The whole thing, the whole purpose of it is to guide other people. Does that make sense? So if you want to find food, or say for example, you want to find a criminal, right? You put the scent on its nose, and it will run throughout the desert or run throughout the jungle, wherever the case is, right? And find that person. So we can see that that principle of the guide is actually manifested, right, within inside of the jackal. Make sense?
Okay, yeah, I hear that. Yeah, it makes sense.
In that respect, right, it is now become sacred. And because it's sacred, we also study the dog or that jackal. And we see what else can that principle of the guide reveal to us. And that's one way that God reveals itself, or God reveals itself within inside of nature for us to understand who it is in terms of his abstractness, right? So his abstractness can be manifested in the physical, and because it's manifested in the physical, we study it and we kind of see if anything is to come in the future. Like, let's just say there was going to be a madness in the future. We can go to that dog, right, or that jackal, and whatever it does, right, if we understand the nature of the jackal, we can understand what's going to take place in the future. All right, what's that called? It's called like prognosis or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I don't know, let me see. You know those back in the day, yeah? We used to have those, not conkers. We used to have those little oak things, right? That before it rains, it kind of opens up.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what it is, yeah? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Them little helicopter things.
Yeah, there's the helicopter ones, but there was another one that looked like a kind of like a, I don't even know what to call it, man. It looked like the pineal gland looking thing, like that opens up.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're trying to
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
not an acorn, but yeah.
Yeah, we was always told, like, when it's going to rain, right? How we can tell it's going to rain is because it opens up, right? It opens up. So we know by just simply having this thing around us here, we now know that's like a sacred item in nature that we hold on to. So if we want to go on a travel, before we go on travel, we just hold out let's just call it acorn for now. We hold out the acorn. And if it opens up, we know it's going to rain. If it doesn't open up, we know it's not going to rain. But somebody might look at us like, how does this guy know every single time when it's going to rain or not, bruv? Like, I remember we don't have like the meteorologists out there. We don't have the weatherman telling us, the forecasting the rain for us. We have to utilize things inside of
nature, yeah. 100%.
What I'm saying.
100%.
So that becomes something that's now sacred to us.
Are you talking about the pine cone, Kalam?
Yeah, that's it. The pine cone, yeah. But you know what it is, though? But you see, now, the pine cone, yeah. Like, sorry to cut, yeah, but this pine cone, yeah, that's a knowing, yeah. Like when that opens, we know it's gonna rain. Like, it's testable, observable, and it. But like when we go into this jackal guiding us through the afterlife, yeah, that's just like you said, that's just it's a philosophy that's turned into a belief system, fam. You understand? Because if it was just a philosophy, they wouldn't need to bury themselves with it. They would understand the philosophy that they're going to go through this. But the fact that they actually mummify these things, put it in their grave, their tomb, yeah, that's showing you that they believe that this thing is going to guide them, fam. You understand? I'm saying, because I understand the philosophy side of it, because, like, but all I'm saying is, if it was just for them to use these idols in, because it's just a philosophy, the fact that they use these idols shows you there's some kind of belief in these idols.
Okay, so I'm going to say, to my knowledge, right? I don't know. I'm going to say, to my knowledge, I don't know that they used to bury themselves with mummified jackals. I know that they would mummify jackals and bury the jackals, in tombs, like in their own, conclave, but not with themselves. There's no, need for it like that. They could most probably have statuettes and things like that nature, but I'm not aware of them actually burying themselves.
Right. Yeah, let me show you something. I'm not talking about everyday Egyptians now. I'm talking about the elites and these pharaoh level people, and like they was burying themselves not only with the jackal. Yeah, some of them were burying themselves with their actual servants alive. You know this kind of thing.
That is to do with the old Kushite kingdom. That's not to do with ancient Egyptians. That's the old Kushites.
Yeah, I know it's pre-dynastic, isn't it? But I'm just saying, the dynasty of Kemet is built upon these principles, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? So it gets carried through. So what I'm saying is
personally, I can't speak on the pre-dynastic stuff and why they did their stuff, because we don't have. Well, I'm going to say I don't have that information as to how they did those stuff. Sorry, why they did those.
It's all in Sumeria still. The answers are all there. But
yeah. So in ancient Egypt, we do have the records we do have the contemporary records and information as to why they did the stuff. To do with the pre-dynastic stuff, we don't have any writing to say why they did this stuff. Okay?
But,
that makes sense.
Fair enough. But what I'm saying is, that the fact that they did do it, even though we don't know why, the fact that they did do it shows that they had some kind of belief system, fam. You know what I'm saying? Like, why else would you bury yourself with your servant unless you believe there's some benefit in it?
But let's not jump to the seven. Let's just keep to like the one thing that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, the jackal. All right. Cool.
So the jackals, we understand that it's the abstract, in manifested. So it's the abstract in the physical sense, and it was also utilized as a tool of study. So the jackal itself was something, like zoos. Like we had our zoos were studying these sacred animals to kind of figure out what will take place in the future, or what we can utilize from it. Like what else can we do with these dogs? What other principles can we learn from studying these dogs? Because they're the manifestation of a principle within inside of nature. And so that's the reason why we actually sacred animals, number one. And then secondly, that's the reason why we mummified them. Is so that we can show those creatures respect and honor, because we utilize them within inside of the physical now. Like we use them now. So we're going to show them the honor because of them being used, because of them being singled out. Because it wasn't just any jackal that would be mummified. It was only specific ones that had specific
ones with the sharp ears and that in it. But
yeah,
I get that. But I'm just saying that, like, I understand what you're saying. But my only point is, a philosophy, is a philosophy. They don't need to make these idols, for a philosophy, because it's only a philosophy. You know what I'm saying? The fact that they built these idols and mummified them, and it's not just a jackal, many other things, but we're just on the jackal right now. The fact that they mummified it, and then, actually buried it underground. Then why would they? If it's just a philosophy, why would they mummify the dog, and bury? I understand, because you're right. The dude buried them. They found all over Kemi on their own, just buried in it. Like I get that. And British took a lot of the mummified dogs to come back and use as fertilizer, but that's the next story.
Babies eat them and use them for medicine, like humans as well. Mummified. That's the next.
That's our next thing. Story. The fact that they used to bury these things underground, showing that. Like, it's more than a philosophy now, family. Like, you have to be honest.
So there is. Okay, so you are partially right. So there is something that is philosophy, and then there is something called the cultic. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, which means it's more to do with the practical. So philosophy tends to do with just like academic studies, basically. But then there is the cultic. So the physical things that you do, right, is the physical things that you do. So, having statues, burials, having tombs. This is more to do with the cultic side of things.
Yeah, but
so
what's the cultic? The religious, basically.
What you would consider to be religious, right? What you would like? How can I put it? Like ritualized things is kind of considered
exactly.
But again, it's nothing to do with beliefs. Right, it's nothing to do with beliefs.
Call it a faith system then, because at the end of the day, like we've got there now, it's like there's the philosophy side of it. True, call it religious, call it ritualistic, spiritual, what side you want to use there. Like there's that side to it too, where there actually involves some type of faith. Like, you know what I'm saying? Them burying these dogs underground, they actually believe there's some kind of benefit to this. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Like, we can't say it. Am I still there? Hello?
Yeah, you're still there.
Oh,
so,
hello?
So, yeah. So there is like rituals, there's devotions, there's all of these things here, right? And again, if you're going to look at it just like from the apparent, right? You're going to think that they believed in a lot of the things, but a lot of it was just symbols. They're just symbols. Like, for example, right? I touched on it the other day, speaking with if you look on it, we do have a Judgment Day concept. We do have a Jannah concept, i.e. a garden concept. We do have a lake of fire, i.e. hell concept. We have all of those things, okay? But did we literally believe that after we died, right, we're literally going to be weighed, our hearts will be weighed upon a scale with a feather? We literally believe that we're going to spend the rest of our, forever inside of a garden with water and playing and having fun and, all those things there, right? And do we literally believe if we were bad, we would be burnt in a lake of fire, we'd be forced to drink, urine and feces and drink fiery water and be cut up and decapitated and so forth? Do we literally believe that's what's going to happen?
You saying that they never believe these things?
Never ever. Like it's scary, right? How I've seen, the religions take this on to be literal. Like if you actually know,
okay,
I can't even speak on it yet too much, right? Because you really have to be part of the actual mystery system itself, right?
Yeah.
But if you read, it's mad because we know what it is and we know that it's 100% not that. I'm like,
Callum, you know what it is? I hear you still. All right, and look, we can even easily deal with this here. You can show us one hieroglyph or one pyramid wall, one papyrus that says, this is all allegory, philosophy. Like, we don't believe this stuff. You get me? Just it's all philosophy. Like, is there any hieroglyphs that say that?
Is there any hieroglyphs that say we don't believe?
No, the hieroglyphs, when we see these stories on the hieroglyphs about, like you said, like the lake of fire, etc., etc. Yeah. When we see these stories, is there any hieroglyph that says, "Oh, this is all philosophy. Don't believe it. Really, it's just philosophy." Like, or is that a later? Is that some bid'ah that's come later? Everyone's talking about, oh, it's a philosophy. Like they were actually saying that.
It's one of the ones where it's kind of like blaringly obvious. I don't even know how to even. Obviously, of course, we have got a the kind of like ritual books that kind of breaks it down and kind of explains to us what each thing means. If you've got a Book of the Dead, right?
Yeah.
Actually, let me see. Let me see if I got a Book of the Dead. All right.
I've got mine, but it's so like I'm on my phone right now.
I know the Book of the Dead somewhere in like the early chapters kind of just breaks it down. All right. So we have something called like a catechism. All right, where questions are being asked of us, okay, and we've got to explain we got to tell them the answers, but then we got to explain the answers, right? Okay, so
wait there. So is this from an actual papyrus or is this from some scholar?
No, this is just from the book. Let me just give you a quick example, right? This is just a quick example since you asked, and I haven't really looked. Okay, I haven't really looked, so I've just gone to spell number 17. All right. Yeah. Spell number 17. It starts off saying, she doesn't start off. Now, let me start from the beginning, right? It says here, this lengthy spell is accompanied by an equally lengthy series of vignettes. The spell, which has a long history behind it, consists in effect of a statement of doctrine regarding the sun god, later becoming a spell on behalf of the deceased. But at frequent intervals, the text is interrupted by a series of explanatory glosses, which attempt to elucidate the significance of what has just preceded. To the modern reader, the glosses are often more obscure than the main text. Right? So I'm going to start off by reading what it says. Remember, this is spell number 17. Right? Spell number 17. It says here, if you've got a Book of the Dead, you can verify everything that I'm saying. It says here, here begins praises and recitations going in and out of the realm of the dead, having benefit in the beautiful West, being in the suite of Asar, resting at the food table of Unefa, going out into the day, taking any shape in which he desires to be playing at draughts, sitting in a booth, and going forth as a living soul by the Asar after he has died. It is beneficial to him who does it on earth. Right? Now come into being all the words of the Lord of all. I was at him when I was alone in the abyss. I was Ray in his glorious appearing when he began to rule what he made. It says here, what does it mean? So we just recite all of that, but now, what does it mean? It means Ray when he began to rule what he had made, when he began to appear as king, before the supports of Shu had come into being, when he was a which is
one sec, fam. Who's writing this part? when it says what does it mean? Like,
Yeah,
I'm sure
this is still part of this is still part of the papyrus.
Okay. Fair. Sorry.
Yeah, but let me see something like that's looks so mad. Let me find something that looks so mad, yeah, and then kind of tell you what the explanation is.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one, yeah. So it says, "Who is he? He is the Sa. As for what exists, as for what exists, that means he's injury. Otherwise said, that means he's corpse. Otherwise said, it means eternity and everlasting. As for eternity, it means daytime. As for everlasting, it means night. I am Min in his going forth. I have set the plumes on my head." So let me quickly break that down, yeah? So ask the question, yeah? Who is he? And it says here, he is a Sa, right? So now we're going to break down to you, what does a Sa actually mean, right? Because you might see a Sa and you see him as a green figure. Let me see if I can do this. Let me share my screen with you. Let me type in Osiris, right? And then let me share my screen. Okay, so we've got Osiris here. There you go. That's nice. That's a nice picture. All right. So
man like Nimrod. Wow.
so yeah, you got Osiris there, right? And somebody might literally think that, you know, on Judgment Day we're gonna meet this person here. All right, a green man, a green mummified man with a long beard. All right, this is what people might actually think, but it explains to us now. It says here, yeah. Okay, he is Osiris. As for what exists, that means he's injury. All right. Otherwise said, that means he's corpse. Otherwise says, it means eternity and everlasting. All right. So, for example, when you see Osiris, right, he is the person who was, you know, chopped up and killed, and all those things there, right? Okay, so he was injured. All right, but that itself, Asar literally means eternity and everlasting. Now it tells you, what does everlasting and eternity mean? As for eternity, it means daytime. As for everlasting, it means night. All right. So whenever you see this person here, right, called Asar, it represents eternity and it represents everlasting. It represents both daytime and it represents nighttime. It represents the continuous nature, the continuity of time present at a standstill. If that makes any sense. All right. Yeah. So, for example, when we die, right? When we die, we know we're going to meet Asar. What does that mean? We know that we're going to enter into a land of Asar. We're going to enter into the realm where we're going to be everlasting and in everlastingness and eternity. Through daytime and nighttime, we're going to be at a standstill. There is going to be no movement. You dig what I'm saying? We've now passed on to the next life. Right?
Yeah, I get that.
There is not no physical man that we're actually going to see. We simply know that this thing here represents eternity. Right? We've now gone on to the realm of eternity. We've now left the realm of time and change. Right? You know that there's daytime, there's nighttime, there is ups, there is downs, there's all these things going on, right? But when you enter the land of Asar, there's none of those things there. There is just simply an everlastingness of eternity. You dig? Okay,
yeah,
that's what it means by seeing Asar. You dig?
I agree, but yeah, like we say when we go to, like, okay, then how can I explain this? Like, we know that these people here, yeah, these deities are pre-dynastic, and what I'm saying is, yeah, like the pre-dynastic times, they was actual men, and all it is that when we came into the time of the dynasties, they've been deified into. So, like, basically, it's like people have deified, you know, many people in time and said, look, this person's actually became a real deity, and now this is everlasting, and you know what I'm saying, all of this stuff. So we get that. But all I'm saying is, yeah, that was a real person. People actually believe this to be a real person, also a deity. So, like, when we look at Nama, like, the Scorpion King. There's the actual Scorpion King where like he's got is towering miles above everyone else, yeah, with his big club and that. And then there's the actual man, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who's
So,
Menez. So Menez or Nama, whatever you want to call him, was deified into this big massive Scorpion King. But really, he was just a normal man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So there's a difference between pharaohs, i.e., human beings, and divine principles. So he's a divine principle. He's not a human being that literally like lived and walked upon this earth.
I'm saying he became a divine principle. Like that's my argument. Like
so you're saying he became a divine principle. All right. Like, do you know at roughly what time frame he was supposed to have lived? Do you know? Like, he is like a primordial. He's primordial. Okay. He is.
But what I'm saying is when we go into like, but that's what I'm saying, sir. But all I'm saying is that we find these same deities in pre-dynastic Nubia. You know what I'm saying? So like in Sudan and the temples in Sudan, we'll find these same deities, who were actual kings and people. You know what I'm saying? It's only when it comes into the Kemet dynasties when they become divine principles. You know what I'm saying? But before that, it was just kings and men. You know what I'm saying? So like when we talk about not Asar and Set and what's the
Heru.
like them Heru, you get me? So like them two, one was actually accused of going to the other one's house and doing some nastiness. I ain't gonna get into all that. You get me? That's the next two. You get me? But like I'm saying, these were actually accused of like these are stories of men, and then later they became deities and principles. Like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I want to say to you. Like these people, or these, divine principles, right? Yeah. Although they're anthropomorphic, right? In the shape of human beings, right? Like we always knew that these were principles, and we told mythology about these principles, okay? And somehow later on down the line, human beings, began to think of these stories as actual facts, as actual reality. There was really a man called Asar that got cut up into 14 different pieces and buried in one place.
No, but that's just talking about Nimrod. That's
there was actually Horus and Saturk that had all of these different battles and trials, and that sodomy was going on and all sorts. Like people actually thought that this was literally happening, but the actual ancient Egyptians themselves, because this kind of came in through the Greeks though.
But this is what I was saying though.
Even the Greeks never. They told the story of Asar and Saturk and so forth, right? But even them, they would tell you in their stories that this is to do with the mysteries, and you have to be initiated, and they're only going to tell you a certain amount of it. So even them, they understood. But I guess when people started to read these stories and minds started to wander, they used to think, they began to think that these were actual physical human beings.
But I agree, but
physical.
You know what it is? Okay, then. But what I'm saying is, like you said, like you don't really want to speak on the pre-dynastic stuff. But I'm saying, like, when we do look at the pre-dynastic stuff now, we're gonna see that in Sumer, which is the empire before Kemet, we're gonna see that there's a man called Nimrod. This man called Nimrod, was called the son of the sun god, Cush. Cush was deified as that sun god. So now we've got Ra. Then his mother was classed as the moon goddess. So then we've got the moon god, and then we get Nimrod. Who was cut up into pieces. And sent all over, all of these things. What we hear about Asar, the same story we hear with Asar, runs parallel with Nimrod, which is pre-dynastic. You know what I'm saying? So now, like I said, it's a man who later on gets deified, and then all these principles come out concerning him.
I don't know about Nimrod and them ones there. That's another culture. What I can speak on is the Kemetic culture. And for me, the Kemetics, you can find it throughout all of their recorded history. They never understood these principles to be human beings. They always understood them to be principles found within inside of nature.
All right, fair enough. But all I'm going to say is pre-dynastic Nubian, dynastic Sumer, when we look at these places, we see all the same deities, the exact same deities that are later on deified and, you know, made into philosophy in later on, you know what I'm saying? But when we look at, like I said, King Nama or Menes, whatever you want to call him, yeah, that's an actual man, an actual king, yeah, who later on gets deified as the Scorpion King, some big massive giant who came and killed everyone and united upper and lower. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, people back then, they understood symbology. They understood that, you know, if you have an imagery of a massive man, right, it kind of symbolizes, you know, these people, this man, in a warrior pose, basically, had an army, a vast army, like a massive army that all fought underneath the banner of this one man called Nama or so forth. That's just me reading into the symbology. You know, him grabbing people by the heads and smiting them and all those things there just showed that the army itself was able to go head on with, you know, these other armies and were able to completely dominate and subjugate them. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of what the symbology is trying to tell you. But if you look at it and you just saw like a huge giant man, you know, just trampling down on like a smaller army, you're gonna think like, I don't know what people might think. They might literally think, yeah, there was a 16 feet tall giant that was walking around the earth, you know, trampling on human beings. For me, I'm like, God damn. You look at it literally.
Yeah, but that's what, no, but that proves my point, fam. Like I said, if there was a real man, a real man, yeah, who later on gets deified as this big, massive monster that is trampling people. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I can find that same principle in every one of your deities. Yeah, Asar, Set, Nimrod, Ra, all of these people, all of these deities are actual men beforehand.
Okay, so
that's all I'm saying.
I wouldn't say that they were men beforehand. Like, for example, you need to be able to read the art. All right, there is, like, within inside of a culture's art, there is symbolism that takes place that you have to be able to know and be able to read those cues, right? So, for example, like Nama and so forth, right? We know them to be actual human beings, right? Where we got the gods, right? There is a demarcation between the gods and human beings. We know them to be principles within inside of nature, okay? And we understand the symbolism of like a big man. We understand the symbolism of a small man. We understand the symbolism of zoomorphical, you know, human beings appearing as like creatures, appearing as lions, appearing as mouses, and so forth. We know that human beings don't literally transform. Well, depending on, you know, what religious background you're coming from, you might actually believe that human beings do transform into certain animals. But generally speaking,
peace to the panel. Peace to the panel. How y'all doing?
Peace.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can I add on to the conversation?
Well, real quickly, I just want to give a shout out to Sabrine for actually correcting me. Thank you. She said mice, not mouses. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I wanted to say that in the Quran, you know what I'm saying? Allah talks about the position of the Pharaoh, you know what I mean, and his role in Egyptian culture. And, you know, according to the Quran, the Pharaoh actually said in the Quran, you know, am I not the one who controls, you know, is able to take life and give life, and he imposed himself over the people as a deity. And not only that, but when Moses was you know, challenging the magicians told Pharaoh, hey, look, Pharaoh, if we win, can we get, like, you know, they were asking the Pharaoh as if he was Allah, if they can get a high position. He goes, yes, you will be my closest. So, you know, you said that in Egyptian society, they never looked at the humans as the deity. They only looked at it as in the manner of a principle. But I contest that, because the Pharaoh was considered to be God. Like, they looked at the Pharaoh as the deity.
And
You know what I'm
deity
saying?
deified him. Many times they deified each pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? Especially the early ones. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I agree.
So I'm going to simply say that I hear where you're coming from. I would say that I understand where you're coming from, but it's not 100% correct. All right. The pharaohs were never looked upon as gods in that respect. They were looked upon, or how can I put it? The office of pharaoh was that of a divine office. Okay. And the reason why it was a divine office is because they were God's representative on earth. Right? They were God's representative on earth. They were supposed to do, they were supposed to be what God is on earth. All right. But they fully understood that they were the Sa-Ra. Okay. And let me explain to you what the name Sa-Ra actually means. Sa means sun. Okay. And then Ra means the deity. So they understood themselves to be the sons
of the sun,
of the divine being.
The
right?
sun, no, the Ra is the sun. So they're saying they are sons of the sun, innit?
Yes and no. Okay. So you
How is that yes and no? How is that yes and no though? You know what I mean? Like it's not that complicated.
I'm about to explain it to you, okay? So yes, the word Ra does mean sun, but no, that is not what they were saying. So you have the word Ra, okay, which is, I explained earlier on, is a homonym, right? Meaning it's a word, okay? There's two words that sound the same, but they have two different meanings. So you have the word Ra, which means the sun, and then you have the word Ra, which means the creator or the divine principle that caused everything to come into existence. All right. So when the pharaohs were calling themselves the son of Ra, they were calling themselves the son of the divine being that caused everything to come into creation. That's what they were calling themselves.
Now, can you give me an ancient practitioner of this philosophy? Like for we as Muslims, right? When we say there is no God but God, and you say, okay, how do you understand the philosophical background of there is no God but God? Then you go back to the examples of Muhammad, and you go even further back to the examples of Noah, how they all understood the same principle. There is no God but God. Every single prophet or messenger had the same philosophy. Now you say this is how they understood a manner of thinking, of worshiping or understanding their concept of being the son.
You're cut out, but you know what you should have done?
Can you give an example of who was thinking like this? Who was thinking like this? Like what man, what woman, who wrote this down? Like this is how we are understanding this concept. Like who can we go to in the Egyptian culture who wrote books about this kind of thinking?
Yeah, and the thing is, like the question I asked him, and he did go to the Book of the Dead, but it still never, I don't feel like it proved his point, because I asked him clearly, is there any hieroglyph or papyrus that tells us, this story that you're reading is just a philosophy? Don't take it literal, it's just a philosophy. I've never come across anything like that.
So I gave you an example, right, earlier on.
Yeah.
Of the word Asa, or the name Asa, the king Asa.
Oh yeah, okay,
right?
That one, okay.
And then it was clear, like as a glossary, to tell you, okay, what does the word Asa mean? All right, or what does it mean? Yeah. It means eternity. What else does it mean? It means everlasting. What does that mean? It means this. So it gives you the breakdown of what it means. It's not to be taken literally. All right. Now the brother asked me a question about who can. Is it me, Ezra? Did he cut out or is it just my?
He was cutting out when he was talking. Yeah.
If I caught his question correctly, like where can you find all this information? We have tons of books, right? Tons of books. Anybody who can go online, just type in Ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead, type in the coffin text, type in the pyramid text, type in all of these different literatures out there, and you can find the breakdown of everything that I'm saying.
Yeah, but who's the author of the coffin text?
The author, I'm feeling to understand. What do you mean, the translator of it, or the actual guy who wrote it down?
So we got the Quran. We got the Quran, and we know the author of the Quran is Allah. So who like you say, we can go to the coffin text, but who authorized it? Was it one of the ancient Kemetic priest, high priest?
So you know that the author of the Quran is Allah. All right.
Yeah,
So
that's a lie. That's a lie.
We can. I'll do it. I'll do that the same as well.
We can deal with that. We can deal with it, but we're dealing with Egypt right now. I mean,
we're doing it. Yeah, we're doing Egypt still.
The author of the literature in Kemet, in regards to these things, are the Neteru.
Nah, but who actually scribed it? That's what he's asking.
No.
Like who's the first author? Like who? Like we know that Musa got the tablets, and then we attribute this information to the Most High. So we know that he was the one who gave us the message, like the interpreter of these. Muhammad is the interpreter of the Quran. He's given us the meaning. How do we live? How do we practice? How do we understand the theology of Tawheed? Muhammad is the one who got the message. Now you say we can get information of the Egyptian text in the coffins. We can get information about these theologies of Egyptian worship from the coffin text. Who wrote the coffin text though?
Okay, so the very first, how can I put it, solid book literature that we do have is something known as the pyramid text. Okay, now the pyramid texts are literally pyramids, a pyramid, okay, that can be found in Egypt that has text written all over it. Now these pyramid texts are, how can I put it, ascribed to certain pharaohs. So you've got the pharaoh Unas, right? That's living in the 5th century BC. No, not 5th century BCE. About 5,000 years ago, basically, about 4,500 to 5,000 years ago, you have an actual pharaoh, okay, named Unas. We have his records, and the pyramid text is ascribed to him. Then you got another pyramid, okay, and it's called the pyramid text of Pepi, who's another pharaoh, and the text is ascribed to him. Does that answer your question?
Well, what you're doing is you're telling me that there were people who wrote about other people. I want to know who is the author. Okay, who wrote about Unas? What was his name?
No, it's not. They didn't write about Unas.
It's just inscription, right?
Yeah, it's a piece of inscription.
Who inscribed it?
It would be the scribes at the time. They would be the ones
who actually, name? Can I get a name
of the different scribes that inscribed it? Unfortunately, I don't know the exact names of the individuals that inscribed it. The easiest way of doing it is simply figuring out the time frame, looking into the temple records of who were the high priests that was ruling during that time frame, and who were the scribes that's kept inside of the temples and who are buried in certain locations, and we will know exactly who the individuals actually were that were responsible for the construction and inscription of the actual pyramids. But unfortunately, there are going to be loads of like lower people, meaning the people who literally did the writing, the scribes themselves. We may not know every single one of the scribes that actually did it, but we can figure out who the actual high priests are and who will be the ones that will be responsible for constructing and actually, how can I put it, planning and having the inscriptions planned out. But there were various different scribes that did certain things. So there'll be scribes that actually penciled. Let me give you an example. So there'll be scribes that penciled, and I'm using pencil very lightly, penciled out where the actual inscriptions would be inside of the pyramids. Then there would be scribes that would do the chiseling. Then there will be scribes that will do the painting. Then there will be somebody that would check over the work as well as the surveyor. There is various different people that will be involved in the process.
And is it true that the texts, whether it's the pyramid or the coffin texts, especially those two, were limited to the pharaohs, as in for the most part, society had no access or connection to this philosophy or whatever you want to call it, and it was limited to the elite of the society?
So the pyramid text itself, in that era, in that exact era, because there is other text. So, for example, the coffin text is kind of like a development of the pyramid text, meaning it's the same information, kind of developed a bit more, but it's the same information, generally speaking, that was able to be portable, meaning it didn't need to be inscribed inside of pyramids. So, meaning it didn't need to be restricted to those people who have the most amount of money in society, who would be the pharaohs themselves to actually pay for this grand work to be done. So then it went down into coffin texts, right, which was available to more people to have it inscribed. Then it went down into the Book of the Dead, which is papyruses that can be inscribed. So more and more people had access to get it done inside of their their coffins or anything like that. So that's one way of looking at it. Okay, but that's
what was the literacy levels like at that time?
So let me quickly go back now. I haven't finished. But that same information or similar information was available to the actual priests themselves and actual scribes themselves, but they just didn't have the pyramids and so forth. They had tombs, right? But they just didn't have pyramids to have those things inscribed into.
See, my thing is, brother, is that you saying that these books are attributed to some scribe, but you can't attribute the scribe's name with a name. You can't give me a name. You can't give me a date. You know what I'm saying? Was he a black man? Was he a white man? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, in 2018, you trying to explain to me about how they understood the sun and all that. You know, like, but you don't even know the scribe who wrote the book. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm supposed to just take your word for it that this is how they understood.
Bro, isn't that common?
I want to say that. It's amazing the same standards that you want to hold me to, you can't even hold yourself to it. Because if I ask you the same question, who was the scribe that penned down the Quran? Well, I don't think you will have the answer.
Who inscribed the Quran?
Yeah.
Ali is the first one that I know of. The Mus'haf of Ali wrote down the Quran.
So the Mus'haf that you have now is written by Ali?
You asked me who inscribed the Quran. That's what your question was. Now you asked me another question about who wrote my Quran that I got now.
Okay,
so the one who wrote my Quran now.
So there's more than one Quran
from a printing press. That's the one who wrote my Quran. The one who came from a printing press. But we talking about the one who wrote the first Quran, from my knowledge, is Ali. But I can give you a name though. I can give you a name.
1 second, fam. Because you know that. Wait, 1 second. No, we can't, because people was writing it down.
What?
Everyone was writing down the Quran on
what's the question? What's the question?
He said because I had asked him if he can give me one scribe to one scribe's name about the Egyptian text, the pyramid text. He can't do it. So how am I supposed to accept what he's going to tell me about the philosophy and the theology of Egyptian worship if he can't give me a scribe's name? So he said, well, then I can ask you the same question about your Quran. But I said, according to the first inscriber, from my knowledge, the Mus'haf of Ali, they have a picture of it. You can see the actual picture of it, of the Mus'haf of Ali writing down the Quran.
Yeah, I see where you come from, Said. Yeah.
So, but I got a name and I got proof. But where's yours?
Hold on. Stop for a hot second. You actually have the Mus'haf of Ali.
I'm saying that there's tangible evidence. There's like artifact. You can see the artifacts. There's pictures.
What artifacts? What artifacts?
What artifact?
Well, it's an image. It's an image. You can go and see the image of Ali's codex, his codex of the Quran, how he put it together.
Oh boy.
Right. Again,
you messed up now, fam.
We're now jumping into beliefs now. But let's go back to Kemet. I don't want to go.
I'm asking for evidence. Who's the name? What scribe wrote the pyramid text? You can't tell me. All you can tell me is that there's many books. I can go on a website about these books, but I'm asking you, who's the author? And you can't give me a name of one person. So I'm supposed to assume that this is how they understood the sun. And this is how they understood God and everything. In 2018, I'm supposed to believe you that this is how Egyptians worship. But you can't tell me one scribe's name, and you tell me this is how I believe, brother.
I guess the answer is not.
I feel like both of you have that problem still, because we don't have that problem, no. You know what I'm saying? We know exactly who each one.
So give me one scribe, brother. Give me one scribe, Rasta man.
Everybody.
One scribe.
I don't know if you lot can see my screen, but that's what I found on Google.
That's actually interesting.
That's not Ali's codex.
It says
that's on Bid'ah, fam.
It says Quran by Imam Ali.
Come on, fam. You think that book there?
It's in Kufic script. The Kufic script.
Fam, come on.
That's all I could find, bro. That's all I could find.
Nah.
Well, I thank you for finding it, brother.
You see, now
you
it's like as soon as you find one, as soon as hold on, as soon as you find something, yeah, it's just like what?
No, because
we
Oh
know.
yeah, brother, they're
If you had
astonished.
Ali's
They're
Quran,
so astonished, man.
One second.
Hold on.
Listen,
Ezra
if you had
speak.
Ali's Quran, yeah. If you had Ali's Quran today, you would not be using the Uthman Quran. Why would you do that? You ain't got Ali's Quran.
I'm only going off what the brother said. That's all I'm going off.
Thank you, brother. I mean, I appreciate the fact that he even went out his way to do that.
Ezra,
Yeah, but that's the problem with just going off of what the brother said. That's the problem. That's the problem. Yeah, as Muslims, man, need to be more critical and more skeptical. Yeah, obviously we know that Imam Ali's Quran didn't reach us. Yeah, we know that. So you might need to fall back and chill.
Spiritually.
I know. I was just trying to.
It can reach you spiritually, but we know it's not.
I was just trying to bring the pictures he was talking about. That's all.
Bring it back to the topic.
The Quran is the book.
Let's go back to the because I feel like this has been a good talk. I've actually learned, like I'm not gonna lie, you know what I'm saying. So, couple of my questions I feel like have not been answered, but a few have, so it's all good. But yeah, I'm just saying like going back.
Let me come back. Let me come in on this one then, and let me ask again. So from what I heard, you tried to present the thing as though like the pyramid text. So it originally was just for the elite, and then it kind of filtered down. But that's why I asked you the question about literacy rates in Egypt. Obviously, we know that Kemet, like literacy rate aside, we know that the normal people means everyday people didn't have access to the hieroglyphs. They didn't know what it meant. It's a very complex language. Yeah, like it's arguable whether you even know how to vocalize the hieroglyphs. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, and my point is in saying all of this is that we know that it was limited. All of this fancy philosophy that you keep talking about was limited to a select group of people within society. So then that begs the question: if it's so good for everyone, why did they keep it for themselves? No, but why did they keep it for themselves if it's for the greater good, quote unquote?
Listen.
All right,
this is the beginning. Secret societies, fam, Masonry. Like this is what's going on here. Like, come on, baby. It's not for everyone. It's not for you know what I'm saying? But that's the next thing.
Let me know if you want me to give you the answer, right?
Yeah, I was asking you.
Okay, perfect. So we have something in Kemet as a temple school system, all right? Or the pyramid, the temple school system or the temple university system, all right? It's literally like, school or university, right? Where people go and they study. Now, fortunately for us, we had permanent staff members. So we had a certain group of priests that would be passed down usually from father to son and others from mothers to daughters and so forth, right? Who would, generally speaking, be there as permanent staff, generally speaking, right? Then you had other groups of staffs that will be there on like a 3-month or monthly rota or weekly rota and so forth, right? And these individuals will go back and they would mingle in with the normal community. And whilst mingling in with the normal community, they will teach the normal community the principles that they've learned with inside of the temple school system. They would be the doctors that people will have to go to. They will be the people that teaches them, morals, the philosophy, everything. They will be those people in society that's physically out there teaching the people. So those people didn't need to go inside of the temple school system. They had people outside of the temple school systems teaching the layman.
And you're getting all that information.
Yeah. Hold on. I got a line of question for this guy. So, all right. So you're telling me that there's almost contractors who go and teach the masses?
Almost contractors. I wouldn't say contractors. Yeah. That's just their duty as the elite or the learnt.
Because I thought you made a distinction between the permanent members and then the separate group of people who go out and teach the people.
Yeah. So you have.
So then you've got contractors. So you've got an institution who contracts out the education of the masses, which is not going to see. This is the thing as well. We both know that what people are being taught on the masses level is not the same as what they have. And the thing is, we're not talking about mathematics here. We're not talking about to be honest, we are, because we know that certain mathematics, certain certain geometry was kept beyond the they're beyond the masses. For example, we also know like astrology now, astronomy rather, not astrology. Yeah, well, it probably was astrology back then. It was just the knowledge of the celestial bodies and knowing when they go this way and that way and their orbits and so on and so forth, which allows you to then predict eclipses and so on and so forth, which then puts you in a position of manipulation. Because this is the thing, it's all well and good to try and present it as a university system and yeah, it's just all free and it's education for the masses and all that, but we know that knowledge was kept as a power tool, as in astrology, for example, through astronomy was kept behind the door of astrology, and it was the priests who would predict events and so on and so forth, celestial events, which then further cemented their position of knowledge and authority. Now, to pretend that humans weren't going to abuse that position of power and the institutionalization of that religion is to put it beyond the pale of human nature, which I don't think is quite silly.
Okay, so yeah, you quite rightly said that. Of course, anytime you have power, power has the opportunity or the ability to be misused and mishandled, right? We're not going to deny that. We're not going to even deny to say that there wasn't any misuse of power in 5,000 years of an empire's history. We're not going to be naive and say so, but that wasn't the ideal. That wasn't the value system that was put in place. Okay, people were quite scared to actually misuse their power or abuse their power for the fear of not being able to enter into the afterlife itself, which kind of helped to keep the people in line.
Yeah, and I can accept that to some extent, but as you quite rightly said, throughout the 5,000 years, we know as it developed, especially, well, as it developed, we know that the elite in the society, whether they came from elsewhere or were indigenous, utilized their position of power for narrow interests. So wherever it was, and this is the interesting, you raise up an interesting point here. You see, if this is the key thing, then why aren't we affording every single tradition the same the same effort? This is the thing. So you're putting all this effort into extracting these principles or these kind of what did you term it? It's like the essence or the source of it, yeah. But then you got all the time in the world to talk about quote unquote inconsistencies or like idiots who speak nonsense. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of tricky.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if you got a question. If you got a question, fire away, man.
Yeah, it's a statement still, but yeah, I don't know. Like, where was we, man? Because I feel like it's getting
just to refresh it. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Always, it should be stated at the outset that the Kemet philosophy is not monotheistic in any sense of the term. It's henotheistic, if anything.
No, it's more to do with panentheistic.
What's that?
So what's that kind of?
Let me give you a nice dictionary definition of panentheistic. Pantheism. Definition. Okay, so the definition, it says here the belief or doctrine that God is greater than the universe and includes and penetrates it. Let me get a better word.
All right. Well,
I'm that as well.
Yeah, no. This is more to do with like Christians, Jews and Christians tend to be panentheists as well. It says here panentheist, meaning all in God. From the Greek, pan, meaning all, and meaning in. Theos, meaning God, is the belief that the divine pervades and interpenetrates every part of the universe and also extends beyond time and space. The term was coined by German philosopher Karl Weiss. So it's much more of a panentheistic worldview.
Why is it not henotheistic?
Henotheistic, to my recollection, is like the understanding that there is different deities, but only the belief in one deity, right?
No, it was almost adherence. The definition is adherence to one particular God out of several, especially out of several.
So obviously, you mentioned the Necher over earlier and tried to say that the Necher was the author of these texts, right? But we know that Necher literally means divine power, and it's another word for that deity, so Odo Ab Keo, which manifests itself in myriad forms, which is henotheism.
Nah, to me, I feel like that's talking more about like Hindus who like have the many different gods and goddesses, but most of them like identify with one. You know, like they have that one in their house. Like they're split up into
but that's a mistake. But that's a mistake, though, isn't it? Because the point is here we're talking about names, which is often erroneously translated as gods and goddesses. So it's nothing to do with it. It's actually two different things.
Now I'm just saying like that there. I don't feel like that applies to Kemet because like then they deified things to like explain it naturally. Then you know what I'm saying. So even though I do agree with you on the one hand, where like they have deified these things, but it's only to explain things naturally. Like that occur in nature.
That's a modern twist, isn't it? Because to be honest, the reality is that it's just a different form of polytheism.
No, it's not. You know what it is. All right, and let me explain like how I was taught when I was studying Kemet. So like, this is the best example. I often refer to this. In Kemet, there's a philosophy, a principle called Magna, and they're two like deities, that are basically repel and attract each other, And then when the Greeks got there, that's where they got the idea of magnetism, because they took this principle of what people in Kemet deified. So they deified, they made these two deities as a principle to explain magnetism. You know what I'm saying? So like, they're just trying to explain something that occurs naturally through deities. You know what I'm saying? And like that's their way of doing it.
That's the new interpretation still. What we're talking about is not how people understood it at that time.
No, that's not a new interpretation, bro. I'm telling you now, there's a principle in Kemet called Mag. Mag is one of the deities, and Na is another one. And these two deities attract and repel each other, and this is how we get magnetism today. So, like I said, that's not no new thing. It's an old thing made into a new principle and a new philosophy. That's all it is.
Are those two deities separate from each other? They exist in their own universe alone.
From what I'm not in their own. They are a part of this a part of the Netta in it. Like the Netta or the Nepha. I can't remember which one. Like one of them is the physical, and one of them is like the energy. I think it. So these would be the Nepha. Callum, correct me if I'm wrong. You know, like cool, man. But I'm saying like, according to my understanding, the Netta is the natural, the physical side of it, and then the Nepha, the Nefa, is like the spiritual, the feminine side of it. So like,
so basically, you guys unify the infinite and the finite.
No, don't say you guys. Whoa. It's not you guys think.
You're representing the Kemetic philosophy.
I'm telling you what I was taught. I'm telling you what I was taught.
Okay, because you're defending it. You represent
it. I can teach somebody flipping mathematics. That don't make me a maths teacher. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just something.
I don't get down like that over here, brother. I speak Islam. I'm gonna represent Islam, and I'm gonna speak Islam. You speaking
Islam.
Your faith.
Listen. I'm not represent. How am I speaking my faith? You're dumb. Because I'm speaking something that I'm educated on. That makes it my faith. Stop talking stupidness, man.
I'm not talking shit, bro. I'm just asking you a simple question. You said that the Netta represents
Saeed, you got the wrong end of the stick. He's always debating Kemet. You was just debating Titan just now. He's a Hebrew Israelite, bro.
Okay. So I didn't. Okay, well, he should have put that on the record. Should have put that on the record.
But you wasn't here earlier, bro. Said
before you started accusing people.
Basically, what happened is, obviously, some people, when they look at other religions, they look at it from their religion's point of view. Other people are able.
Now you're trying to speak for me. You speaking? You act like you speaking for me.
For you, bro. I'm talking in general. I'm talking to the people. I'm on a show. We're talking. I'm trying to explain something. I'm saying some people, when they look at other people's religions and faiths, they look at it from their own religion's point of view. Other people can look at it more objectively. So they'll tell you what the actual people who follow the faith will say. Whereas other people will say things about a faith which ain't true. So when people say the Prophet Muhammad went around killing people and sharing Islam, that's something that someone outside of Islam will say. Someone who's Muslim will know that's not exactly how the thing went. It's the same for Hebrews, Christians, like, but I encourage
that must be an English thing. That's not how we do it in America, man. That's not how we do it over here. That must be an England thing. You know what I'm saying?
We're just trying to seek knowledge instead of arguing.
What Ezra's demonstrating is being at our opposite faith that he's got debates with, that he's been debating with Kalam since this show started, but still being able to honestly tell Ziryab a concept. So still being able to honestly say, nah, but them man don't do that. That's not what it means. Do you get what I'm saying? So
that's his perspective. You see what I'm saying? I'm making a point that that's interpretation, because this whole magnetism angle.
This will flip right back on the man because Ezra, he believes that every time the man about the Kaaba, the man about idol worshipping. I'll be the one to tell him that's not the perspective of a Muslim, but he doesn't care. No graven image.
Yeah, true.
Yeah? No graven by his law, but that's what I'm saying. I'm just showing the man that it's better for us to be able to look at things through other people's eyesight as well, so we can get a balance.
Yeah, but that's what I was there. That's what I was doing. Like, I didn't cut you when you were saying that, because that's what I was like manifesting through what I was talking about earlier in the line of questioning, isn't it? It was to extract that from the people who are representing that tradition. You see what I'm saying? But that doesn't negate my perspective on something, and that doesn't mean that what Ezra was taught is 100% correct. You see what I'm saying? So he can say what he's saying about the magnetism, and these are two elements, and it was just trying to explain a natural phenomenon, and that's all well and cool. Yeah, that's all cool, bro. But what I'm saying is, back then, you think to yourself, back then, it's very difficult to imagine, because this is what I'm talking about. These priests were scientists in the sense that they were utilizing the scientific method of experimentation and utilizing the reason and the sensory faculties and that. So obviously, them man there, couple that two man there, they might know because they experiment.
Do you believe in kinetic science,
but the majority of people are not going to know that. Obviously not. And this is my point. That kind of knowledge was kept from the people. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a cultural.
So wait there. Do you wait there? Listen, wait there.
Because the way I grew up,
in magnetism? Wait there.
The way I grew up, man, we don't talk about things that we don't stand on. Like that's like a rapper talking about trapping, and he don't really be trapping. You see what I'm saying?
What you don't understand
you got brothers who study trap music and study brothers who be trapping like news reporters, but they really don't live that life. So if you're going to speak about Kemet, but you don't live. Hold on, bro. I'm just trying to tell you how my culture is. Like we don't talk about things we don't live. So you're going to talk about Kemet, but you don't even live Kemet. How can I really talk to you about Kemet? You don't even live it.
Because basically, bro, where it is we're meant to get knowledge as far as China. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, but I don't get. That's just not my culture, bro. I just don't. I don't get down like that.
What that means is what that forces someone to be into some degree is a state of ignorance. So what it means is if I don't look at things through a Muslim's eyes, I'm always going to look at things from outside a Muslim's eyes. So I'm always going to have a negative interpretation of Islam. It's the same for Christianity or anything that's outside yourself. Yeah. So it's just to lower down on ignorance and to be able to know that what you're on is true, because at the same time, if you can't look at things through other people's eyes, what it just means is that you've got ignorance of even understanding what they're on. When you've been able to understand everything, at least then you've made a influence.
You ain't never gonna understand everything, bro. Never.
All I'm saying
you're never gonna be able to understand everything, man.
I personally understand all the religions. They're very simple to me. It's not.
Nah, you're not initiated into the higher sciences of Islam. That's also another thing that you don't know.
Bro, the higher
sciences, the esoteric meanings of the Quran, you don't know them. You don't know them because you're not initiated in the craft. You got to be.
See, this is what makes me laugh. You see, when so-called Muslims like want to lambast Kemet and lambast the whole mystery tradition, but then they want to talk about mystery and the esoteric and the science, the levels and all of that. Bro, you need to chill out, man.
No, you need to understand that you're talking to a Muslim, bro.
Yeah,
So
we're
don't call
Muslim
me
as
no
well,
so-called
fam.
Muslim. Test my Islam.
Hold on a second,
Test
mate.
my Islam.
Hold on,
Test
yeah.
my Islam.
Hold on, because you're from a
Test it.
culture, yeah. Hold on, yeah. You're from
Test
a
my
culture.
Islam.
That's the gangster.
Wanna be gangster, yeah, from America who has a different culture, yeah, to how us in the UK handle stuff. Yeah, in America you might have different stuff, yeah, of ways to handle stuff. But to be honest, this ain't even a like whatchamacallit, what I would say, like it's not like a, what's a word for it, man? Okay, someone give me a word for it.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, and like, I don't think it's an English thing. I just think it's the way we think in the 21st century. Because a basketball player who tries to tell somebody about football, but he never played football. That's 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 an orthodox. That man is unorthodox. He's not.
Someone that okay. That analogy, yeah, can go against you. You know why?
Exactly.
Because if a basketball player, yeah, tells a football player, "Oh, this is not how you play football," and the guy knows how to play football, is there a problem with it? No. If the person knows how to play football, if the person knows how to play football, you can't tell the person that he's wrong. You know.
No, brother, 1 second. Yeah. If I don't know, yeah, if I don't know maths, then yeah, how can I teach somebody that their maths is wrong? You know what I'm saying? So look, you want to claim that Islam is the right thing, right? You claiming it's the hack and all that, yeah? Well, if a next man thinks he's got the hack, yeah, how are you gonna show him he's wrong if you don't understand his hack?
Nah, all I'm gonna do is ask him questions according to my hack, and I'm gonna see how he can answer them. I'm testing it.
That's exactly
all I said was, so y'all believe in the infinite and the infinite, and the brother said, no, don't call me y'all. So I'm assuming, but he's speaking on Kemet like he's down with it. So I'm like, you can't get mad at me for assuming that you down with Kemet because you talking like you know Kemet. So I'm just asking him a basic question.
Clearly shows you wasn't listening to the conversation. That's all you're showing from. You understand? Because we was talking about the sciences, yeah, and the deities in Kemet, yeah, and I was clearly showing, yeah, that those people deified everything, yeah, to give it a natural explanation. That's all I said. So, like, I don't understand how you can get mad about that and act like
I'm not getting mad. I'm asking you about you. It was either you or brother Kalam has said you gave the definition of pantheism. You said that Kemetic philosophy is pantheistic. So I went and looked in my dictionary, and then you talking and you're trying to explain pantheism, and I came in and said, so basically, y'all believe in the infinite and the infinite as one. And then you said, don't say y'all. And that's how I got started. It wasn't nobody getting mad. I'm just assuming that you was down with the Cometians because you speaking on it like you know.
He said he's a pantheist, not a Cometian. Two different things.
No, he was explaining what it was that they believe, the concept. The conceptualization of worship is pantheistic.
But
and then
we move on though.
So I'm asking him, okay, so basically y'all believe in the infinite and the finite as one. And he said, no, it's not y'all. You don't associate with me with y'all. That's how I get. So he got mad. Don't tell me I got mad. You got mad because I said y'all. All you had to do was say, you know what, brother, I'm a Hebrew. I'm just talking on Hebrew. That's all you had to say. You dig what I'm saying?
He might have been he might have gone through chemistry. I can talk on Christianity. I was a Christian. Like you can't
exactly.
Really,
you was a Christian, so you can talk on it because you was that. But I'm just saying, if you ain't lived nothing, you can't talk on what you don't live. And that's my thing. That's my culture. I don't talk about things I don't live, bro. I don't talk about Egypt because I don't live Egypt.
I hear you, but you have these questions about things outside of
the start. You would have clearly heard me say
everyone does.
I studied Kemet. You would have heard me clearly say I studied Kemet before I came to the Bible. So obviously you're ignorant on the facts, fam. It's better you ask people instead of making dumb accusations. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, man, we can leave it. Can you just answer the question? Is the concept of the Cometians, do they believe in the finite and the infinite and the finite as one? Do they believe in the material and the non-material as one thing?
Yes. They believe and the netta and the nefer is one. They have a all. They call it the all. They have a concept of the all.
Hello,
am I lying?
Yeah.
Break down the all for them, fam.
When you are, cuz.
Yo. What you saying? What you wanna do now?
I don't mind, man. If you wanna leave it for tomorrow, or whatever, man's good. Or man can kick off the bara.
Bara. Let me go and
kick off the what?
Your ears pricked up. Only the Muslim ears are gonna pick up for that one.
By the bonfire on you, what's it called? You Sunni Salafi Jihadi Jahilis. If you don't
listen, man, ain't that, yeah.
SSMBs, man.
If you don't fit the label, yeah, then don't bark in it. Like, don't get mad. Don't fit the label, don't get mad. That's what I'm gonna say.
If the cap don't fit, don't wear it.
Yo, listen, fam. All I'm gonna say is, yeah.
Oh damn! Select in the building.
It is the one and only, the brother Isa.
Assalamu alaikum, family. What's happening? I heard something, and I just thought I'm gonna have a smash down the Islam of Kemet in here.
Yes, Isa. What you saying, my brother?
Was somebody saying Kemet? Sorry.
Oh shit! You got two black shears in the same place.
Oh man!
So Saeed's a Shia, is he?
Yeah.
No, we got three. But they're gonna start calling me a Rafadi soon, fam.
Bro, Rashia, bro, you ain't going nowhere.
No, gonna lie, yeah. We
my sister. Oh, go on.
Don't forget me, bro. I'm an honorary black Shia as well, G.
I was after Issa, when Issa took a break. I was the first black Shia in the pot for a long time.
Boy, that's why, bro. That's what I told you. That's why I started coming back from. When I saw Respect beating up them man with that tail, I was like, what's going on here, fam? I'm missing out, bro. That's what made me come back from.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is Ali and the real Muhammad Israelites. You get me? Not the imposter one. Not the imposter. Ottoman Turk.
My man, mate.
Get me? That's the next thing, though. That's the next thing.
I second that one.
Yo,
second that?
Me.
I'll say the Hebrews. I'll say they're from the Hebrews, but I don't know about Israelite, but fair. But they got Israelite bloods. Yeah.
Israelite.
Yeah, the Israelites, fam. He's an Israelite. Muhammad was a warner to the Israelite pagans in Mecca. That's it.
Oh my God!
You keep changing the story, fam. Are you sure it wasn't a Jesuit conspiracy?
That's the second one, fam. That's the second one. Yeah. That's the Ottoman. That's the Ottoman one. The one that says he was on his the white one that was on his arm. That's the Ottoman. I'm talking about the black one.
Hey, Kalam, you gotta get Ezra to give a speech on that, Kalam.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna do a lecture on it still. I've got real, fam. Trust me.
Hey, yo, but Respect.
2 Mohammeds, 2 deaths, 1 authentic black one, 1 authentic white one. Yeah, mad thing. Mad.
This brother's.
Hold on. You got 1 second. We call it was Respect wrong or every Catholic can get it.
Wait, what?
You mean those words, or did he have a show called that?
No, we're gonna do a new show. I'm asking Respect.
Say that again, Cuzzy.
Was Respect wrong or every Catholic can get it?
Was Respect wrong or on?
No,
what did you say?
Or every Catholic can get it. Which one should we call the show?
Every Catholic can get it.
Yeah.
Oh, you know the subjects?
Yeah, something. No, we're just gonna do a show. We're gonna do another show.
Oh yeah. By the way, brother Kalam, did you get my email about trying to do a show or stuff?
No.
Right. No, I was just wondering if I could do like a separate show, like in the middle of the week or stuff, regarding some stuff, like whatchamacallit, because I was wondering if I could like do a show regarding this stories of certain people and stuff, like for example, you know the story of Karbala and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I was thinking if it would be okay, I would do a story
Yeah, man, you
a
might pick
lecture
that
about
up
that.
somewhere else, innit?
Yeah.
Somewhere else. Yo, Issa.
Hold on. Let me just do what Kalam said. Kalam, I think them two battles go together, bro. Because at the end of the day, when it comes out, is he wrong? If you're talking about the subject matter, then the answer's no. And the answer being no, therefore every Kafir's going to get it anyway, bro. So they go together. You get me, fam? So let's roll. Big that up, fam. Big that up. Yes, brother. Whoever called me there.
No, leave it as for the title, and then just we'll bring out the discussion in the thing. I'd say let's leave it. Every Kafir can get it. That's a nice title.
I'm gonna leave it as that, but I'm gonna put Respect Edition.
Put Sunnis in brackets, yeah. Just put for Kafirs, put Sunnis in brackets.
Oh, fam.
That in all Sunnis, they know who I'm talking about. The SSMB. There you go. That limits it down to a certain group. But yeah, Riyadh.
Nah, because it's Barra season. They ain't trying to play into their hands. You understand later. You understand later.
The SS.
I swear I heard them calling us on your show, fam. I swear go live and their man was calling us Rafidi Kafirs and stuff on Brother's show.
Who
But
go
fair
live
enough,
show?
No, on Respect show still. They duck up, they come up in Respect show, fam. I swear I heard them talking, but all right.
Listen,
Ziriab, did you say Ziriab called me? What's happening,
Are you
bro?
ready for the question, yeah?
I'm not sure. What's it about? Come on.
Oh, it's about Shiism, isn't it?
Oh Lord. Go on. I'm sure Kalam can answer, but go on. Go on. What is the question?
Yeah. All right, cool. So, Imam Hassan al-Askari, yeah?
Oh God. Yeah, go on.
Yo, listen, just because I asked Brother Kalam about something, yeah, Ziriab just like, you know what, I'm gonna ask about something before she is a minute.
I mean, you can ask, but I don't.
I get over yourself, mate. I was just wanting to ask for Issa this for a hot minute still, but yeah. I mean, obviously, I'll ask the question, and if you answer it, that's up to you. So, what's the situation? What's the problem? What was the issue regarding the successorship of Imam Hassan al-Askari? And specifically, why is it that his brother claimed imama, inherited alongside his mother, because of the fact that Imam Hassan al-Askari had no known son, right? But then later Shias, obviously of your school, the Imami Ithna Ashari school, turn around and call Imam Ja'far al-Kadhab. Wal-'iyadhu billah.
Well, let me put it like this. I don't know if have you read the various stories and opinions and stuff? Have you read anything at all?
Yeah, I've discussed this with a couple of Shia friends, and they've obviously passed me what scholars have said, like Shia.
Have you come across the opinion that, I mean, I personally, when I look at how things work, it makes sense to me. So let me give you the perspective that I've come across. And it's basically this. You're living in a time period where they're trying to literally stamp out any descendants of the Prophet who are claiming or have claim to the imama. Because any caliph at the time, any leader of the Muslim world at the time, his position is at risk of anyone who may be considered by the people, not even a legitimate imam, but considered by the people to be an imam, right? Then they might join hands with this particular person, this so-called Shia imam, a true Muslim imam, and seek to topple his government. So I'm saying to throw off the people, because remember, the government is always going to have the little snakes that roll up in there doing taqiyya, pretending they're Shia, to find out. Sometimes you might even have to throw them off by saying, well, this one's imam and that one's imam and that one's imam too. Have you ever heard that kind of story?
With a little bit of threats, as in, you know, it was too peak, the political situation was so peak that no one could know about this son. But so what I'm saying is, I've heard those two, what you've said and what I've just said there,
as one. Do you get me?
Yeah, no.
But let's get into it. Let's get into the meat of it. What does that hold weight for you? Does that make sense? Does that sit well with you?
That's what I'm saying, because I deal with reality, bro. I'm not away in the fairy tales. Like, you know, when I think one of the things that really broke my opinion in this fairy tale land was when I heard that Prophet Muhammad got wounded. Do you get me? And then I heard his teeth were broken or something like that in a war, and I was like, rah. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. That's all real, isn't it?
I'm just saying things work with reality. Like you still have Allah, you still have the angels, but there's still, you know, the observable experience reality. So I'm saying, if that's the case, then there still is the human mind making plots and having to deal with other human beings and their free will. So therefore, if you're at this state where this bloodline and this imama, this, you know, holy appointed, divinely appointed group of people are to be chosen and protected, then you have to use means to throw the evil, wicked devils off the scent. Do you understand what I'm saying? So obviously you're going to have to use misdirection.
Yeah, but that's only if you're within that paradigm. I'm saying from a historical point of view, if you look at that period in time and then you look at these surrounding circumstances, like the fact that his own brother didn't claim that he had a son, like the fact that his brother and his mother went to the court and claimed the inheritance that was due to them, that wouldn't have been due to them if he had a son, Imam Hassan al-Askari, that is. These kind of, and then we get into the so-called representatives of this hidden Imam.
Let's do it
problematic, because what we're talking about is not bloodline. We're not talking about the actual blood brother. We're talking about some next guy called Uthman, who's claiming to be in communication with the son.
Brother, wait.
What?
You said he's
This is not for you, fam.
listen. You see, this is the thing. Don't jump the gun, fam.
Wait, brother. I was trying to make you make your first point and respond to that, and you went on and on and on. So your point was they went to court and was claiming inheritance, correct?
So yeah. So that is from the historical point of view, away from the paradigm that, you know, there's this bloodline and it's all pure and holy and they're all appointed and it's all chosen, and away and aside from that, historically we know that the 10th Imam Hassan al-Askari.
Wait, man, I just wanted you to highlight that two little piece there.
I'm coming to it. Don't worry, man. Imam Hassan al-Askari
see, Ziria, just steal it by 1 point by 1 point, fam. Why?
I can't believe this.
Yeah, but you're jumping
the gun. I didn't really want to get into it.
No. You're jumping the gun, bro.
Hold on, piece at a time. 1 sec. I'm just dealing with the point that you were trying to say. That's historical, and somehow you're thinking that goes against the misdirection. I'm saying that would go in line with the misdirection. So, for instance, like you're convinced that they're...
But come on, man. This is confirmation bias, bro. You're better than that.
Oh, my God. Listen. Oh, this guy's not listening. I'm saying you presented this thing as though it contradicts the narrative of misdirection to protect a holy bloodline.
It's not by itself. So if you keep cutting me, then you're not going to be able to actually ascertain my argument.
Brother, you mentioned
one aspect. So if you want to hone in on that historical aspect, that's all well and cool, but it is confirmation bias if you see that, this is all within the paradigm of, you know, they're just throwing them off the scent.
Right. So, okay. So what are you saying? Then.
So it's a cluster.
Do you want to do this now? Wait. Do you want to do this now? Or do you want to do a separate particular thing where we can have like a whole thing on whatever you're going to bring and what your claim is, and therefore me defend? I don't mind defending my position.
All right, cool. Yeah. Well, all right. Let's hook that up in a private message and that, and then we'll do that.
Okay. No, because I'm saying I don't mind doing this, and obviously it seems like you're someone we can dialogue with and share information and whatnot. So I've got no problem with that. What I'm saying is that I just prefer, you know what I mean, that we can do it in a constructive manner.
You two will be a good discussion still. I'm not gonna lie, like most of the Sunnis I see Shia debating, Isa debating it, like they're just not on the level of like this where it's going. You know what I'm saying? Like Shams is the only one and he runs, fam.
No. Listen, brother Ezra, if you didn't see, me and brother Isa, was on Kalam show a couple of days ago, and I'm just telling you right now, those.
Who's them? M-Stacks. M-Stacks. Some other guy. That was hilarious, bro. Them two, oh my head, they were tag teaming. Listen, if you see the wrestling thing, bro, you know where they run around the outside of the ring and you have to jump out, and they jump, brother. It was the way that they were doing that thing and tagging each other to run away from us. It was, bro, they're nuts, bro. But that's
Bro.
just Sunnism, isn't it?
Yeah, legit, yeah. M Stocks was trying to run away, yeah, saying that, oh, da 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 da. And then when I brought up the point, yeah, that whatchamacallit, Isa was saying that there's a hadith regarding whoever rejects the Khilafah becomes a kafir, da 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 da. I said the hadith regarding Jahiliyyah, yeah. And I said, what's your stance on Fatima Zahra? You would see this guy say, oh, no, we're not allowed to talk about this. This got nothing to do with the issue.
To be honest, there's certain topics, and the Sunnis are that's it. You can't move left or right. They corner themselves in. That's what I'm saying. They're spiders that catch themselves in their own web. They're just confused and drunk spiders that spin webs and put themselves in a damn web. So that's not my fault.
I'll be honest, yeah. As a obviously a non-Muslim, yeah, looking in on it and just like trying to be balanced, and you get me. Like the sheer argument just seems more logical. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you not want to follow the man's family? Why would you want to go and kill it and go and make war against his family? The one who he loved the most, the one who's calling for on his deathbed. Like, how are you gonna go against that guy? That don't make no sense.
But bruv, check this. It's the worst part about it, bruv.
The thing that shows me the Shias are right, yeah. Like, and this is just through a little bit of research. It's that one hadith, and it's in their own books here, where it says, Muhammad's on his deathbed, and he's asking for the paper. So, like, he get me, and then these guys are talking about no, get me. Like, what do you mean no? Get me? Obviously, there's some kind of coup going on already. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
There's already some kind of coup starting from already. From
and then
the next day, what happens? Muhammad's asking for Ali all day. All day, Ali ain't there. He's on some errands.
True, yeah.
He gets back, and what happens? Muhammad calls him into the room. Yeah, them two. He's whispering in his ear, and then he dies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Brother Ezra, another thing is, even in their own books, it states, whoever loves her, Satan loves me. It's half of them, half of the Sunnis, one of the Sunnis I know, personally, on Muharram, you know what the Sunni does? He says, and Brother Isa, listen to this, I was having a discussion with a couple of my Sunni friends, One of them said, may Allah be pleased with Yazid. I was like, what? What did you say?
Leave them. I'll be honest, you lot hardly hear me talk about this thing because it just gets me vexed. I don't talk about Karbala. But back to Ezra, you said there, brother. You see, you see the same hadith you quoted, brother Ezra, yeah? That's one of the main hadith. Which
that one, I feel like that's a nail in the coffin.
You see where, because let me quote it for you. What happened was the Prophet said, get me something to write with, that I'm going to write you a document that you may never go astray. Umar bin Khattab says,
he knows right there, that moment there, because he knows, that this coup's going on, he can feel it. You get me?
Right.
So he's saying, get me some paper.
Right. Yeah. So this is Thursday. So now Umar bin Khattab says, the Prophet is under a spell of pain. You have the Quran with you. The Quran is sufficient for us. What kind of feisty damn language is that? You telling the Prophet we don't need it. You understand? So from there, brother, as soon as I bought Bukhari because of these hadith. People, I read it in the Shia book, but I was like, wait, is that there? Because I never knew that as a Salafi Sunni. When I couldn't even, brother, it's like 5 times in Bukhari, brother. This thing is indisputable. You get me? It's firmly fixed history. So my point from there, brother, he went from rightly guided caliph to deviant. And then later on, that was it. He was gone. But I'm just saying, how the hell can Sunnis read that and then still call him second rightly guided caliph and best companion? This is why these particular individuals' brains are all malfunctioning and confused.
The institutionalization, brother. This is the point I was trying to make earlier. When anything becomes institutionalized, it becomes mash up, innit? And then my point is, you're going to get it as well, because the same thing happened in the Shia tradition.
Not with me. I hear, but the thing is, I've always got excuses for the Shia tradition because as a black man, us and the Shias are in the same situation. The Shias they've evolved a whole culture on surviving oppression from Sunnis. Literally a whole culture, like our culture, especially Afro-Caribbean and Afro-American, Afro-Brazilian. Our whole culture right now is just, how we survived what we went through. and we're still trying to like, okay, how do we get out of this thing? That's what we're still discussing. And I'm saying with the Shia brothers, they've kind of got it, but they've adapted, and that's the norm for them. You get me? That's what I don't go and like criticize things I see with my Shia brothers and thing. And I'm thinking it's still this. The Sunni is now holding hands with everyone else against one place, Iran. You get what I'm saying? And against the Shia.
It's not the Sunni though, is it? We know that it's MBS. It's Saudi. It's UAE. It's these states, bro. But listen, this is the deeper one. Don't tell me that these men are Muslim because they're killing Muslims in Yemen. You get me?
Yo.
Come off it, man.
You're Sunni, right?
Yeah. That's how I was raised, isn't it? But I wouldn't identify.
So tell me about Yazid.
Yeah, what? Gunfire on a man, innit? What about him?
Fire. Yeah.
Respect. What are we doing? What is Allah saying?
Yeah, what about him? He was a tyrant. He was a criminal, innit?
Yo, respect. You know we're ready for you,
He
right?
didn't even have the decency to respect the sanctity of the holy places.
Come to you quickly.
Are we off, yeah?
What? So,
yo, man.
We're live right now, yeah. The members, everybody's just waiting for you. They're saying, "Where's respect? Where's respect?
Where's respect?"
You got me. I got Timo Ben Israel, MashaAllah, Anfield, Mega True Talks up in the building. Marshall Mathers, Patrick Norman, Lexi, Ace Astrid. Everybody's here waiting for you. Jay Boogie's up in the building. Oh man,
I'm coming over now.
Man.
You lot, let's go over to Titans TV, man.
Jeez.
I want to know about that, Yazid. Yo, because a couple people in my comments are praising him. I can't really rate you lot, man. I've heard about Yazid.
Yo, Callum, add me to the chat, innit? I can't click.
You know what? Respect, peace, and blessings, bro, for having me on the show, man. Thanks very much.
Click the link in the chat, fam.
It's getting mad. It's getting mad, fam. It's getting mad. So you already know, right? Respect and the whole crew. We got, the Black Telect, man like Shia Isa is going to be passing through as well. So it's going to be absolutely crazy. Right? Absolutely crazy.
Kalam, you doing good?
I'm fine, my brother. Oh, good. See, look at that. We got Shia, the black intellectual Shia up in the...
Yo, people, we're leaving here now. Bless up. Yo, over to Titans TV, man.
What's the title of this show right here, brother?
Ooh. Yo, respect.
I'm trying to get in there now. I'm ending this call.
Yeah, good. So yeah, this